Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. The last week we talked about transformer large language models. For today I will be talking about reinforcement learning GPTs. That then gets converted into an instruct GPT, which finally gets converted into what we all know as ChatGPT. There are actually two questions I want to go in depth with today, and those questions are: how do large language models learn to follow instructions? And how do large language models develop selves? I.e., how do they learn to respond appropriately when personal pronouns such as I and you appear in prompts? So, for the question about how do large language model learn, there are four topics in mind that I wanted to cover. And those topics are pre-training, supervised fine-tuning, reinforcement learning with human feedback, and continuous learning updated based on user interaction. The first topic being pre-training, and what this basically does for the AI is that it first learns the language itself. During pre-training, the model is exposed to large amounts of text data from books, articles, and or other sources online to help it learn the language. And supervised fine tuning is the second topic I wanted to talk about. And basically, what supervised fine tuning does is that human trainers will provide examples of correct responses based on what the information is given, and the model is trained to imitate and provide the correct responses based on what you provide. The third topic is reinforcement learning with human feedback, where you have multiple human evaluators rank the answers that helps the AI to prove these correct answers by ranking them, and the models will learn from the ranking to improve the answers it provides to the user. And the final topic for the question we want to answer is continuous learning, also known as updated based on user interaction. And what this does is that it helps the model learn over time as it keeps interacting with multiple users, storing data. And as it does, it improves the answers that it gives to other users of ChatGPT or whatever other AI that would be using will provide. So an example would be if you ask ChatGPT to give you a recipe to bake a cake, the ChatGPT will then generate a whole list of ingredients and bake temperatures with Fahrenheit, maybe with what pans you need to use in order to make the cake look as pretty as possible in a sense. Or they could also use it to ask for help on homeworks, such as having ChatGPT answering certain math questions or having it answer certain English problems that could also be used for ChatGPT's databases. So now that we talked about what large language models are and what they learn, the other question I wanted to talk about is how do large language models develop a sense of self? Now, this is a really weird topic because normally large language models do not have a sense of self. They're more just lines of code that is being ran, and it just uses the most appropriate responses to the given questions that people would be asking it. So For example, if a person said, "How do you feel today?" the AI would generate a relatively normal response of, "Oh, my day was great. How about you?" So it plays into the fact that it doesn't really have a personal answer compared to, like, let's say if you talk to a regular person. That's because large language models do not have personal experiences, emotions, or independent thought. It is because they are trained on massive data sets containing from texts in books, articles, and other human interactions and conversations, and different sources that are being used to help the large language model learn how to give appropriate responses to those questions that relate to senses of self. And large language models use pattern recognition in order to generate the appropriate responses to the user, meaning that it's not human, and it will basically give you the most basic type of answer in terms of if you ask the AI how it is doing, or if you're trying to see if the AI can generate any sense of empathy for a person. Now, large language models do not think or feel, and they instead predict the words that correlate and would fit the most into the context of the current prompt, which is why the term sense of self is most likely a sense of illusion, since the AI speaking about itself in the first person is more likely just referring to a different way for the AI to say, "I think," or "I know." Another way to that is more likely to learn is when the AI starts to self-reference itself during training time. And what that means is that when the user asks the AI what it is, the AI will what it is in terms of like the topic they're on, the AI will most likely respond with, "I am an AI model," basically referring to the materials it has been given to train on their sense of awareness. And finally, the AI completely builds onto the illusion of self by conversational context, meaning that what ends up happening is that because the AI is learning via user interaction, it will slowly start to remember previous interactions with the user and the AI. But in truth, it is more so because the AI has a stable context tracking and probability based predictions. This answers the two questions that I wanted to answer this week. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.